So usually values of x that make the denominator equal 0 will create a vertical asymptote. And that's true unless that value also makes the numerator equal to 0 as well. When it makes the numerator and the denominator equal to 0, it's no longer a vertical asymptote. That is a removable discontinuity. Or a whole. Okay? So what we have to do first is we have to factor. I need to factor numerator and denominator to see what's going on. Okay, so if I factor the numerator here, I get x times x minus 3, because they both have an x in common. So I factor it out. This is a trinomial, so I say what multiplies to be negative 3 and adds to be negative 2. So I get x minus 3 and x plus 1. And in this particular problem, what I need you to know is that both numerator and denominator have an x minus 3. When both numerator and denominator have the same factor, like this, that's what creates our whole. In the graph looks like this. Okay? The other factor in the denominator that also is not in the numerator, that creates a vertical asymptote. So I set that equal to 0 to know where a vertical asymptote is. I set this one equal to 0 to know where the whole is. Okay? So let's do number 1 together. I'm going to zoom in a little. No, zoom in. Okay? So if we're doing number 1, first thing we have to do is factor. And if I factor the numerator, what multiplies to be 8 and adds to be 6. Well, that would be x plus 4 and x plus 2. What multiplies to be negative 6 and adds to be negative 1? That's x minus 3 and x plus 2. And what I need you to notice is that both numerator and denominator have an x plus 2. This is going to tell us where our whole is. This one is going to tell us where our vertical asymptote is. So to find out where our whole is, I take this and set it equal to 0. So x equals negative 2. That is where our removable discontinuity is. That's where our whole is. Okay? This one I set equal to 0. X minus 3 equals 0. I add 3, x equals 3. That is where my vertical asymptote is. Okay? The last thing it's asking for is horizontal asymptote. Okay? So here is where I look at the degree and the degree. The degree of the numerator is 2. The degree of the denominator is 2. So I know that the degrees are the same. So I look here at the leading coefficients. Leading coefficient is 1 and 1. So y equals 1 over 1, or y equals 1. Okay? I'm going to do number 4 for you also. I'm going to do number 4 for you also. On number 4, when we factor this, multiply to be 12, add to be negative 7, that would be x minus 3 and x minus 4. If I factor the denominator, multiplies to be 12, adds to be 8, x plus 2, x plus 6. What do you notice here? Here you notice that there's no factor in common from the numerator to the denominator. When there's no factor in common from numerator to denominator, all that tells you is that there is no removable discontinuities. There's just not one. Okay? So what's left here for these two, both of those two are where the vertical asymptotes are. So I set each one of these equal to 0, negative 2, negative 6, and that's where your vertical asymptotes are. All that's left to do now is look at the degree. To figure out the horizontal asymptotes, we look at the degree. The degree is 2. The degree is 2. They are the same. Since they are the same, we look at the leading coefficients. 1 over 1, y equals 1.